Char Margolis, Char Communications Incorporated, and CharVision LLC do not endorse or offer for any purpose but entertainment the views of any guest or other expert on CharVision or UBN.
I knew things before they happened from the time I was a child. At the age of 8, I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed and didn't know what it was. And in my 20s, I finally realized I had a special ability that could help others. I have learned that love never dies. There is a spirit world that can communicate with us, and we all have the gift of intuition. Join me, and together we will explore the possibilities of the unknown from beyond and more. This is CharVision. Hola, everybody. I'm so excited because I have Paulina Sahagun, Sahagun here, and she is an expert about the Day of the Dead, and I need you to explain this. You're the cultural advisor for the annual traditional Mexican Day, right?
Yes.
And tell us what else you do.
Besides doing that, I'm also an educator and a solo performing artist.
Oh.
And I write my own pieces and I direct.
Oh, wow. You're very talented. Well, today we're talking about the Day of the Dead. Now, but wait, let's pronounce it properly. Dia De Los Muertos?
Very good.
Oh, good for me. That was good. Good try. Okay, so I didn't even know this existed until last year when my friend Chuck said, I want you to come to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery with me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, why? It was the day after Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why? And he said, because it's the Day of the Dead. I said, what does that mean? He said, oh, they just like decorate all these graves and it's a whole big deal. And I said, okay, let's go. So we went and I was fascinated. I had the best time and I loved the energy of it. Mm-hmm. So tell us exactly what the festival is.
Okay. It's a pre-Columbian, pre-Hispanic, ancestral celebration, ritual celebration.
Ritual for?
Honoring our ancestors.
Honoring every one of our ancestors?
Every one of our ancestors.
In every religion and every nationality? Or
you can do that. You can do that.
But it's mostly?
It's a Mexican holiday.
It's a Mexican holiday.
Mm-hmm. It's a Mexican celebration. It's celebrated in many parts of Mexico. As you know, there was a conquest of Mexico. Depending on how, what word should I use, strong, severe that conquest was, depends on how much of the tradition you will see. Mm-hmm. So what you saw at Hollywood Forever is one of the many expressions that you can see in LA.
Okay, so you're promoting another festival though, right?
Yes.
And what is it?
This one is November 1st. It's a Sunday.
November 1st, 2015, because this is going to be on YouTube forever.
2015 at the Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica.
Okay.
That event that I work with, what we are doing is keeping the event as close as possible to its traditional celebration.
And what is the traditional celebration? What are some of the basics?
You have two, one of the big ones. One of them is there's a sacred part, there's a ritual.
Right.
Then there's the secular part.
Okay, for the sacred part, what do you do?
You have, first of all, you start out a few days, let's just say a few days before the preparations of creating what we call an ofrenda, which is, you know it here as an altar. And in the ofrenda, which means an offering, you put up food. You put up the food that your ancestors liked.
Okay, is this Mexican food?
Any food.
Okay, but
yes,
if it's Mexican food, I'm coming.
Yes.
I love Mexican food.
Mexican food, because it is a Mexican holiday or celebration. So you put the food that your ancestors loved.
So guacamole and burritos and tortillas. Oh, mole. Do you know mole is made with chocolate? It is so good.
Chocolate and seeds. It has chocolate and different kinds of seeds.
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh, it's very good.
Do you know how to make it?
No. It's actually, that is a...
I would like to learn.
Oh, hey. I'll get you somebody to teach you.
Okay.
We have, mole is a food that is used for celebrations. It's special occasions. So are tamales. I mean, now you can go in the stores and buy tamales and all that,
Right.
but really they're for very important celebrations. Therefore, in the Mexican tradition of Dia de los Muertos, what you put up, depending on what state you're from, the special food that your grandmother liked or your sister that passed away, anybody. And also, what you do is that for anyone, that any of our spirits that don't have an altar, an ofrenda, you will put something for them, even if it's a glass of water. And when you do the ritual of the invitation of our ancestors to come and partake of the food, because it is believed that when you put up all this food, they will come and take the essence of that food.
See, I find it fascinating because I've been doing the work I do for over 40 years, and I always tell people to pray for their loved ones in the spirit world because love is the bridge that connects us to the other side, and we want to make sure they're there waiting for us when we get over there, because none of us are getting out of here alive. So
true.
I love the idea of acknowledging them and praying for them, and also luring them with what they love to eat. I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yes. See, that's the whole point. It's about honoring the cycle of life. If you are born, you're going to die. It's that simple.
It's true.
And if you were born and you lived, you have a legacy. You have memories.
Right.
You have family.
Yes.
So by what this ritual does is that allows us to be able to say, this is great grandma's photo, and she used to love café con leche and mole. So then I can tell my son, look, here is abuelita's offering. And she did this and she did that and she loved you so much. So it's a way to transmit our history and our culture.
It's a beautiful holiday.
So once you do that, once you do the offering, once you do the praying, the crying, the laughing, wherever you are in that cycle of, when someone dies, you go through a whole cycle of grieving and so forth that we need.
Right.
We need.
And this is the sacred part.
Once you do that and you have, the offerings, and there might be laughter and there might be tears, depending who's grieving who or whatever is going on at that moment with your family. Then once you've done that, what you do is the food that was laid out for them, because it's believed that they come and they take the essence of the food.
Do you believe a spirit can really taste the food?
They take
or
the essence. They don't taste. They're not
going to
really
taste because they don't have a body.
No.
But the essence. But is it still as satisfying? Because when I get over there, I love to eat so much. I just want to know that it's just as satisfying. Is it?
When you get over there, you should tell us.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
You can communicate with us, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So then the secular part is what?
So, we're not done with the sacred.
We're not.
So once we did the ofrenda, the altar, then the next day, because we stay up, we stay up in vigil of our ancestors coming.
All night long?
That's what happens in Mexico. And then in every state, it depends what time they come, but this is the influence of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
If the priest said, our ancestors are coming at 12 o'clock, then that town waits for them at 12.
I love Guadalupe.
Guadalupe, la Virgen.
Yeah, the mother.
Tonantzin. She's the earth goddess.
I love her.
Well, she's one of our most famous goddesses.
She is.
Yes. You will find her picture there.
She's got such a great energy.
And you will find her picture there because she's the Emperatriz de los Mexicanos. She's like the Empress of the Americas. That's one of her titles.
Oh. There you go.
So once you've done the food and the ancestors have come, now what we will do is take that food, go to where our ancestors are buried. We will set it up on their grave. We bring the flowers from the altar, the candles. It's not an altar that we're doing there. We already did the altar.
Okay. So
the
what
altar,
is this?
The altar is the official, let's just put it this way, the official invitation for our ancestors to come. And we do the ritual to say, please, look what we have for you. So please come, all right? So it's believed that they come, they partake of the essence of the food, then we take that food, go back to the cemetery where they're at, we sit down and we eat that food. Now we're communing.
So they're getting the essence, and we get to eat. When is this thing? I'm coming.
Okay.
I want
So we do that, all right? We do that. We eat the food there. You know, again, you talk about whoever you're honoring. And then after we're done with all that, then the living get to party. We call it the spiritual party because they're still there. But now we're celebrating that we're alive.
with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's communing with the living and the deceased, and we feel like we're closer to our loved ones in the spirit world.
And we bring their memory
embrace
alive.
that. I embrace that.
Okay, and it's so important, for example, in our society today, that when somebody dies, for a lot of people, they're dead. Don't talk about them.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's
awful.
Therefore, you know, I'm not going to talk to my son about grandma because she's dead.
I would be out of business if everybody was like that.
Yes. So it's a beautiful ceremony. It's a beautiful tradition. And when you look at other cultures, you will find that there's similarities in these types of celebrations.
Right.
Because again, we are all involved in the cycle of life, whether you accept it or not. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You are born and you will die. If we just go like this, you can feel what we call your calavera, your skeleton.
Oh.
So we are life and death right here.
You know,
Calavera, right in you.
In the Jewish religion, we have Yortzeit candles. So every year on the death of our loved one, in the Jewish calendar, we light a Yortzeit candle in their memory to pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you guys have a much better party than we do.
Well, you know, I'm sure that everyone, whichever religion that you have, you will find something in there to help you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's about helping us, the living that stay here,
Mm-hmm.
Cope with the loss, because we don't get to see them anymore, but we do know that every year their memories there, their pictures are there.
We
talk
feel
about them, and we feel
and
them.
in my
Yes.
work, I get their names and I connect with them, and I bring these spirits to the people that I read for, so they can feel that love, and so that they can have the validation and the verification that they're still with us. And
Yes.
that they haven't gone anywhere. Okay, so now is that the secular part, the eating part?
No, you finish doing that once you're done, because now you
Okay.
communed with the ancestors, you know, whoever,
Okay.
the recently departed and the ones that have passed on before. Now, I do have to say that depending on what state in Mexico, all right, there's little differences. Like, for example, in Ocotepec, Morelos, which I lived there for a very long time. My parents are from Jalisco. In Ocotepec, Morelos, what they do, let's say I pass away this year.
God
okay?
forbid.
I don't want to go yet.
No.
No. But let's just say I did. What
You're
you
not
would
going
have to do is make me an altar just for me.
Oh, okay.
So I will get my own altar, all right? And you'll put another altar for the ones that have passed on, you know, a couple of years ago or
Right.
so. So you get your own altar when this is in Ocotepec. In other places, like in Oaxaca, in certain places, they will not put up an altar for the one that just left. They won't even put anything on the altar for that one.
Why?
Because it is believed, this is their own in Oaxaca, that the person that just left is just getting used to being in the spirit world. They're busy.
Oh, yeah.
They're busy.
acclimating to the other side.
Exactly. So they're not
Because
going to
there are
come back.
hospitals on the other side. There are, and there's teachers and
Parties.
there's learning. Yeah, and parties. There's they need to acclimate their
Yes.
energy
Yes.
to
Okay.
understand that they really, because I find that people who don't believe in a spirit world, they get really shocked when they get over there and they see that life is eternal.
Right. I mean, we live in a society that has extrapolated a lot of this kind of belief that's really important for us as human beings. I mean, let's look backwards and you will see the offerings in the graves. You will see, you know, special drawings in honor of. So how can we say, oh, that's not important?
Yeah.
How can we say that?
You can't.
And I mean, how do you tell a child that, you know, your grandma died and then they're like gone? And how do you explain to them? What are you going to say? Well, they're gone, honey. Don't talk about them.
But you know what we told well, when I spoke at my mom's funeral, I told my little nieces and nephews who are now 20 and 22, or almost 22, that they have a guardian angel, and it's their grandma. It's their great grandma, and that they'll never be alone because their guardian angel will always watch over them.
Right.
I'll never forget, they were sitting at the funeral, at the memorial, and they were sitting with their little legs crossed and looking up with their little faces.
Well, talking about angels, the 1st of November is designated for children that have died. Los angelitos, the little
1st
angels.
of November.
Yes.
Why the 1st of November?
Because they've separated it. Okay, they have one for just the children that have died. Then the second is for the adults.
Oh, so children get their own day.
Children get their own day. Yes, they do.
Wow. It's so hard when people lose their children. I can't even imagine what these people go through. Do they also allow animals?
No.
No. No puppies?
You mean like if your puppy
Here.
dies? Okay.
I'm not letting him hear this.
No, this is what we have done here in the U.S. Because remember, when a culture brings their traditions, they're going to change, modify, or be lost, or appropriated. All right, all those things can happen. So what we have done, when I have done Dia de Muertos in different places, we understand, and I understand, that pets, they're part of our family, all right? Now, what we did is that we do the altars, the ofrendas for the people that have gone, and then not on top where the food for the human spirits are, we put them down, and we put a special place for them.
Oh, good.
And we put their food, we put
And
things
water.
and pictures. And
Good.
Yes.
And their toys?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
because
good.
people had that same, like, well, my dog died, and I
Yeah.
love my dog. It was my.
Well, some people
you
don't
know,
have kids. They
exactly.
have their babies.
So we said, you know what? We believe also in the cosmogony of the Mayas, the Aztecas, and so forth, that when you die, all right, now we're going to get a little bit more deeper into the levels. All right.
That's good.
In the tradition, what you have is you have Tlaltipac, which is here. This is Earth. This is where we're now.
Got it.
Then you have 13 levels going down and 13 levels going up.
Ooh.
So when you go to the spirit world, you're going to go through this trip, okay? 13, 9, all right?
Oh, wait,
You're
so you go
traveling.
down first?
Yes, you do. You have to, well, before I talk about that, what happens is you're going to have one of your pets, a dog actually, that's going to guide you and help you through this trip that you're going through.
Oh.
All right? So animals are very important.
Oh, good.
It's not that, you know, we don't want to honor them, but if we're talking about this, I have to mention that there is a respect. First of all, all native peoples, if you look around the world and all the cultures, there's a deep respect for Mother Earth. All right? Everything that walks the earth is here for a purpose. So everything that's on this earth alive, from trees to the two-legged, the four-legged, to the trees and so forth, have a purpose. So there is an honoring of this. This is why we also have in the altar the honoring of the 4 different elements, which is water, fire, the wind, and the earth. That's what you represent on the ofrenda. So everything's symbolic.
It's like an astrology.
Yes. You see, everything's connected, as you already said before. And every culture has their spiritual ways that maybe they've been lost. Maybe a lot of times we're taught that, oh, those things are from grandma's old country. Don't think about it.
Okay, so somebody passes and they go lower first?
And let me explain that.
Explain that business, because
Let me explain. First of all,
I don't want to go too low.
No. We are not talking about the Christian point of view.
Okay.
All right? For my relatives, we never saw devil and God, or devil and angel. It's that, or good and bad. Everything's relative. We all have our own problems, and we work them out.
I always say there's different neighborhoods over there.
Right.
So,
So
okay,
what
so
it
tell
is
us.
really, okay, this is what the concept is. We're all here on earth. This is where we suffer. We suffer because we have to go through a lot of the humanity type of situations, right?
Right.
Betrayals and, you know.
Well, life is a school, and we're here to learn lessons. That's what I always
That's
say.
exactly it.
Okay,
That's why
go
we're
on.
here. So we
So
become
we're on the same page.
warriors in
Okay.
this plane. We become evolved as much as we can. So when we go through that journey into the different levels, okay, we are strong and we know how to deal with it. All right. Our dog, or whatever your nahual is, that's your own personal animal spirit, is the one that will show up to help
So
you.
in American Indian culture, people have animal spirits. So it could be a lion, it could be a giraffe, it could be an elephant, it could be a coyote, it could be anything, right?
Right. Now, we're talking, there's different Native American beliefs, all right? From the Uto Aztecan, which is where would be from Mexico going through the Southwest, even some into the Mississippi Valley that they call it. That's one family. And I don't want to get too much into this because there's so much of
okay,
it's
that's
too much.
okay.
All right.
We'll
yes.
keep it simple.
Yes. In general, Native America believes in animal spirits. Okay,
Right.
that's something we can say.
I believe
All right.
that.
Yes. In terms of Dia de Muertos and the journey to Mictlan, which is the place of the dead, okay, we will have an animal that will come and help us cross a river.
Okay.
All right. So there is that same concept of having an animal spirit come and help you. Therefore, we have, like I was saying, we respect the earth and every living thing.
Because everything has life.
Yes.
Every tree, every rock, every flower, every wood, everything has life.
Everything.
Yep, I agree.
So it's this ritual, which is the honoring of the cycle of life, gives us a space to be able to be introspective. Where am I in that cycle of life? Who's before me? Who's behind me? What have I done? What do I need to do?
Is this like almost judging ourselves in God's light? Or
I don't see it
is
as
it-
judging. I
or
think
just learning?
evaluating ourselves.
Evaluating.
Like
And then-
saying, what do
okay.
I like? What do I need? And
Is
what
this
do I
also
want?
with karma? Is this also helping with karma? Like, oh, I didn't do this, so I need to do this? Or
Well, I'm not sure if I could say it's about karma. I think it's more being in the moment and saying, okay, oh my God, I haven't done this, and I said I would do it by the time I was 10.
Yeah,
Or
right.
whatever age.
Okay.
Or realizing that, you know, all your peers are gone and you're here,
yeah.
and there's still things that you haven't done that you want to. And it's more about you. What do you...
Wait a second. I'm a little lost. Is this when we die, we do this and the dog takes us? Or when are we going through this evaluation?
By participating in the Dia de Muertos.
Oh, so while we're alive?
Yes.
Okay.
The dog will take you across the river when you're dead. That's...
And what about people who have a near-death experience where they say, oh, not time yet, you know, and then they come back and talk about it?
Oh, I don't know about
They come
that.
to life.
I've never had one, so I really can't talk about that one.
Okay.
But basically, again, Dia de Muertos is about the cycle of life,
Okay.
acknowledging where you are, what you've done, how do you honor your relatives, how do you honor yourself in your life,
Okay, so it's some soul searching.
and honoring
evalu-
ancestors,
and honoring, okay.
passing on your culture, being aware that you are the other me.
So
you
it
know?
takes we take a moment in our lives to reevaluate, so that we can to accomplish things, so we become more peaceful and we accomplish more of what we're supposed to do, or we want to do, or we need to do.
You can say that. Because by having the ofrendas, the altares, passing on the history of your ancestors, be it great-grandparents, a sister, a brother that's passed away, you are seeing what's gone on in your life.
Right.
All right? So it makes you think about those things and you remember them. All right? You remember them. You pass it on to
So
your
the
children.
memories are very important.
Very important. Memory, historical memory. Memory. Both of
Memory.
it. Because if you say, this is your great-grandmother, and she was one of the Adelitas during the Mexican Revolution, and she did this, this, and that, your kid's going to go, really?
Yeah.
Or look, this is Grandpa, and he made the best chocolate mexicano on the planet. He's going to want to make it, just like Grandpa. You see, so you...
And if it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
So we're a part of them. We're an extension
Yes.
of them.
And when we die, we want to be on that altar because that means we're being remembered. Somebody will say, look, this is Paulina. She had long hair and she
Yeah.
really liked tacos de pollo.
What
You
is
know?
that? Tacos?
Oh, chicken tacos and chocolate cake.
Oh, I like that too.
Better be some chocolate cake.
Better be chocolate cake, right?
Right.
So when I went to the Day of the Dead at the Forever Cemetery, and tell us again where your thing is, because I don't want to forget. that.
Okay, it's at the Woodlawn Cemetery.
Woodlawn Cemetery,
in Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, California.
Yes, on November 1st, which is Sunday.
November 1st, 2015. It's Sunday. Come and visit and come and see. And there's got to be good food there, right? Amazing food. Okay, now,
food.
before we end, somebody, when I went to the Day of the Dead, I stopped somebody and I said, could you explain to me what you're doing? Because he had like sage and he was burning sage and stuff. He said, this is the day where we ask the good and the evil to get along, that everybody can join together for this one day in peace and harmony. Is that true?
Well, sage is a sacred plant.
Right. And
of-
it's for healing, and I know it
for
protects
healing.
us. I'm always saging. I
And
get it.
for clearing energies.
Right.
So what he said is right. I mean, it's really to clear away negative energy. It's to
Right.
bless, to
Right.
bring good feeling. So in essence, he's right, or she's right, I don't know.
It was a he.
Uh-huh. In Mexico, what we burn is copal, which is a tree resin, okay? And it's the same idea.
It might be that he was burning. I just
Was
thought
it in a
sage.
container?
Yes, it was. Yes.
And it was smoking like
yeah,
a lot?
it was smoking. It was smoking everywhere in this. Yeah.
That's
I said, what are you
copal.
doing?
It's copal,
C-O.
P-A-L.
Where do I get some of that?
You can go to, let's see, any store that has any
And
kind of new age
and
things.
exactly what is it? Does it
It's a resin.
does it heal? Does it
Yes.
protect?
Mhm.
It's a
Copal-
protection.
You burn it with some coal. You have to buy little pieces of coal. They're round, and you turn them on, and then you put a piece of copal, not too much because you'll get a lot of smoke. And it's about healing. It's about clearing and blessing the space.
Okay, so I think this is important for everybody to do. Just like I think it's important for people to sage and also, of course, pray, because positive energy attracts positive energy. And that's what this is what this whole ritual is about. It's fascinating.
Is exactly what it's about. It's about honoring that cycle of life again. It's about remembering who we are, because we're talking about who they were, the ones that were
Right.
that we're offering our food to, our ancestors. We are remembering them,
And we are a part of them.
and we're part of them.
They are us, we are them. And we want to always pray for our loved ones.
And we don't want to forget them, because once
Never.
you forget them, no one's going to go to the cemetery and place a flower there.
That's true.
Because no one passed on like, hey, great, great, great grandma is buried at Woodlawn. Let's go
Yeah.
bring her some flowers. Because we
Oh,
forget.
so
See,
nice.
that's the whole thing, that we don't want to talk about death. We don't want to realize that, oh my God, I got a wrinkle and I'm getting closer to the other side. I better fix things that I haven't
Yeah.
fixed. So
Yeah.
we need to do that. Otherwise, when we're going to go to the other side,
Well, we can never forget, because history repeats itself. And we know that so many different cultures have suffered for so many different reasons that are not unnecessary. And I mean, it's going on in Syria right now, where these people are trying to find a place of safety, and there's nowhere for them to go, and it's so sad. But to never forget is important for all of us.
Because see, by not forgetting, you can remember that history.
Right, because you don't want to forget 9/11. You don't want to forget any time where people have suffered.
All the different genocides that have happened, and
All
it's
of
happened to
them.
everyone.
Everyone.
Mm-hmm. So those things, that's why it's so important that we have these kinds of rituals. And like I said, this is the Mexican traditional way of celebrating, and everyone has one. You just have to ask great grandma or your mom, and if no one has an answer, keep digging and you will find it.
Well, you're amazing, and you've taught me so much. You've taught all of us so much. I appreciate you being here. Your energy is so special, and the warmth and love that you share about the memories is so important for all of us to take home with us. Thank you so much for being
You're
here.
totally welcome.
Can I hug you?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like what you've seen on CharVision, then go to char.net and book a personal reading with me, or join a group reading, or join one of my workshops where I teach you to be psychic and intuitive. Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to introduce you to a dear friend of mine. Her name is Nicole Ingersoll, and I have actually been to her office, and she's an amazing practitioner, and she learned about alternative medicine by healing her own son of Asperger's. This is an amazing story. So, Nicole, hey.
Hi, Char. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's so good to see you, honey. Thank you.
You too, and congratulations on your new adventures.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tell us. I want everybody to know as much as I know, because we don't have that much time. And I know you drove 15 miles or something to find cell service, because you're in northern Michigan, right?
Well, yeah, I'm in Michigan.
You're in Michigan, right?
We're Michigan.
I'm from Michigan, so I get that. So, okay, so tell us the story. First of all, tell us the name of your practice.
The name of my clinic is NRI Clinic for Complementary Medicine, and I am a board-certified family nurse practitioner.
Right, and what are some of the things you do there?
You know, what I tell people is family practice with a twist. So I see people who are 100 for anti-aging reasons. I see, you know, children whose parents would like to not have their children vaccinated and or have nutrition consultations. I have a lot of children who are referred by pediatricians, psychiatrists, and neurologists that are on the autism spectrum.
Right.
ADHD, I do a lot of bioidentical hormone replacement, kind of a combo between Dr. Oz's TV program and Suzanne Summers on that realm.
And tell us about your son, and tell us what happened.
Well, my son is currently 12, and I like to say a very healthy, normal, functioning 12-year-old, which really is a blessing from God. But my son, at about 4 months old, actually, concerned me. You know, first-time mom, but also nurse practitioner. My son had some issues with what I now know to be some interesting body movements, tics. He never had a problem necessarily speaking. In fact, he did that early on. But just making eye contact and actually, you know, interacting with other children and other family members is something he didn't do. So,
at what age did you realize this?
Well, I really started realizing it growth and development wise, again, because I'm a nurse practitioner, more at about 4 to 6 months, but definitely by 9 months, I felt like there were some developmental delays, and really pursued getting some consultations for him locally, and eventually went to a neurologist at 9 months old, because my son actually spoke very well for 9 months old and much ahead of his age. The neurologist and several people in town just said, oh, he's fine. But I knew there was something wrong. It was like he didn't really socialize. And so at that point, I actually took several journeys out to California, down to North Carolina, up to Wisconsin to look at alternatives because I felt my son was on the autism spectrum, but he didn't formally get diagnosed till he was about 2 because that is where the criteria is now in the United States. They do not diagnose one with autism till they're 2 years old.
And so how did you find out what he had? How did you diagnose it? And then tell us what you did to fix it, because it's an amazing story.
Right. So, again, at about 9 months old, I really knew something was up, and I knew it was probably Asperger's, but I also realized with the current criteria that they would not diagnose him with that, which really didn't matter to me because I just wanted to intervene during those critical windows of development as quickly as possible. So, of course, once I had someone that agreed with me that was probably what was going on, the first thing I wanted to do was put him on medication, and I certainly was not opposed to that. Remember, I was a very traditional family nurse practitioner at the time,
Right.
and especially if medication was going to help him during those critical windows of development to interact with others and have empathy, because those were the two things that I found were not happening. Then I was fine with it. However, I knew that was only a Band-Aid. It wasn't really fixing the problem.
Right.
So I decided not to do that initially, but very quickly, mostly again because these critical windows of development, started actually looking overseas at other alternative therapies and came across a lot of literature on correlation between basically inflammation in the gut, the GI system, whether that's from food allergies, infections, things of that nature, and neuroinflammation, or brain and body inflammation. So with that, I ended up initially seeking a practitioner up in Wisconsin who did about 50% of what I do now, and this would have been about 11 years ago, and started working with that person, and then just directly, because I have a license to practice medicine in Indiana, just directly contacted a lot of these testing companies myself. I kind of had to do a lot of the homework myself.
Right.
Accounts with different vendors myself and pay for test kits just to get things covered. And again, I was blessed with not financially having the restrictions that most people do at the time. I didn't care how much the test cost. We were going to pay for them.
Right.
And from there, just basically my son's biggest issue that was causing eventually what would be a diagnosis of Asperger's, high-functioning Asperger's, was a systemic yeast infection or candida infection that was brought on by a pneumonia for which he was appropriately treated and hospitalized for. Otherwise, he would have probably not been with us. But that that pneumonia required multiple IV antibiotics, which caused a yeast infection to get out of control in his body, which then caused malabsorption of critical nutrients.
How did you get rid of the candida and the yeast? What did you do?
So at that point he was about 18 months, he was about 20, he was about 2 years, 3 months old. And so I, again, trying to get a pediatrician who actually, I loved dearly at the time, but she didn't feel comfortable writing. In this case, we had to do a combination of medication and probiotics and stuff. So honestly, I just got a friend of mine that will remain nameless to write a prescription for my son for nystatin, and he was kind enough to do that. And nystatin's a prescription. It's a medicine that's been out for 50 years, and it is used very successfully, normally in little kids, for thrush. And we ended up starting my son on that for 3 months and did, high-dose probiotics, at the time of which I got over-the-counter, didn't even have access necessarily to all the great products, Char, that you're familiar with now.
Yep.
And started eliminating anything that could feed yeast, including, the amount of sugars, even natural sugars and fruits and such that he had. And definitely at this point I'd already gotten rid of, I really never had my son eating, nor did I eat when I breastfed, preserved foods and things, which at the time was very alternative here in Indiana. And I'm not kidding, in about 2 weeks, my neighbors' husbands in our neighborhood were noticing my son just being different. He was making eye contact, he was participating in play, he wasn't sensory overloaded, he wasn't afraid to climb stairs, he wasn't, afraid to catch a ball, like hand-eye coordination. It was pretty remarkable.
Were you strict with his diet? At
the time I was, and I will tell all the moms out there, it's kind of easier when you're a nurse, to kind of put that hat on as nurse, even when it's your kid. But I don't know how women do it. Honestly, moms do it. without having to practice like I did with patients. But
So
honestly,
what do you think is the biggest culprit when it comes to diet?
I think chemicals. I think genetically modified foods, the chemicals that are in food dyes, all the additives, the way that we hyper-process foods now too.
What about sugar?
Sugar is the second largest culprit, absolutely. And in particular, I wouldn't even say sugar, Char, I would say corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup. Yep.
Wow.
But sugar definitely, it causes, it's a free radical. You put too much sugar in your body. I mean, we know, we may not admit in the United States, but I could tell you right now, get online and look at some journals in Europe, and they'll tell you one of the leading causes of all forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's, is hyperglycemia, uncontrolled high blood sugar.
Okay, so hyperglycemia.
Right.
What's the difference between hypoglycemia and hyper?
Well, hypo is low blood sugar, and certainly with low blood sugar, one can certainly pass out, fall, and hit their head and have problems that way. And eventually your pancreas, either way, the organ that regulates blood sugar through insulin, if you remain hypoglycemic for a long time and or hyperglycemic for a long time, either way, your pancreas can give out. And I've had hypoglycemics, chronic hypoglycemics, end up needing insulin. So.
Wow.
Both are not good
So
conditions.
like
to have.
Diabetes 2? Is that what it is? Or?
Yes, diabetes 2, yes.
Wow. And,
Right.
And so for moms out there who have kids who seem to have Asperger's or something, whatever they're being told that the child's diagnosed with, what do you suggest for them to do?
Well, I suggest that they try to find an integrative medicine provider in their area. And one of the best ways to do that is not necessarily a website. I know this sounds terrible, but I will be the first to admit that getting recertified or newly certified in certain aspects of this medicine, because when I started practicing it 11 years ago in Indiana, it was cowboy medicine.
Right.
So now I'm so busy, and it's what I love to do, that I'm not going to lie to you. My newer providers that aren't as busy will certainly go and get certified in various things. And I just make the excuse I never have time. Now, that doesn't mean I don't keep up with current modalities. But my point is, just because someone's board certified in it doesn't necessarily mean they know much more than a textbook, which is better than nothing. But I would call a local apothecary and ask for the pharmacist that owns the compounding pharmacy and ask them who they recommend, because they know.
That is a really good idea.
Right.
And if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
You can certainly go to my website.
And what is that?
NRI Clinic, the number 4 health.com. And on that website is all of our information, including contacting the clinic, which I promise you that if you email me and say you heard me on the interview, my mother, who sits at the front desk,
I was just going to ask if your mom. I was just going to ask if your mom's still at. She looks like your sister.
I know I hope and pray I have her genetics.
She's lovely, your mother.
But she will forward that email to me. Now, it may take me a few days to get with you, but I promise I will, Char.
Okay,
You know how I am.
it's N as in Nancy.
RI Clinic.
R as in Robert. I as in Ida. Clinic.
Clinic. For the number 4.
Number 4.
Health.com.
Say that last part again.
.com.
No, health.
Health. Yep.
Health.com.
HEALTH.com.
Okay, and I think I'm going to be seeing you soon.
I know. I'm really excited.
I
was
can't
trying
wait
to
because
set
we
that
have to
date.
go. We have to go to our favorite restaurant.
Which we won't name, right?
We better not.
Between the two of us, everybody walks by and looks at us and says, "Do I know you? Do I know you?" It's kind of cute, isn't it, Char?
Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Thank you so much for taking this time to be with us, and I hope you'll come on again and visit.
Always. Thank you,
Okay.
and I can't wait to see you at the end of the month.
Yeah, me too. Big hugs.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't go away. I'm going to be doing a psychic reading that you really don't want to miss.
We ask the universal consciousness that holds the highest spiritual power of knowledge, wisdom, and truth to guide and protect us. as we communicate with our guides and angels in the spirit world and tap into the wisdom of the universe, we respect this opportunity and take full responsibility to use this not for ego or controlling others, but with the pure intention of spreading love and healing life on this earth and beyond. I'm hearing a name that's an R, like a Rose or Ruth or Rachel or Rebecca. There's an R.
There is an R.
Is it the name I said, or is it
No.
another R?
It's
Is it a male?
there's 3 R's in my mind, but
Okay, but there's not one of the names I said, though.
the top of my list is an R.
Okay,
Only-
is that a female, the one,
No.
or a male? Is it spelled R-O,
Yes.
like Robert, or Ronald, or Roy, or
Roy.
Roy? Is that family to you?
Yes.
Is that your dad?
No.
Who is that?
Brother.
Your brother. Okay, Roy's here. But is your dad deceased too?
Yes.
Okay, but he's not an R, is he?
Yes, he is.
Is he spelled R-A or R-O?
Oh,
Is he like, he's not Ronald as well, or Roger, or R-O, but it's not Robert.
it is.
Okay, so Robert and Roy are here. So that's your dad and your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew it was an R name. I'm just sometimes off with the name, but not the sounds. Did you not get to say goodbye?
I did not get to say goodbye.
Yeah, and that bothers you.
Yes.
They don't want it to bother you. He doesn't want it to bother you. He wants you to know that he knows how much you cared and that you weren't able to physically be in that presence for whatever reasons, and that it's okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yes and no, but
Okay.
yes.
Was there an issue with one of them?
Yes.
Did you not get along?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did not.
They're saying it's their fault too. They're saying they're apologizing to you. I don't know if no one would even let you be there. But they're apologizing to you. So you must have had some big misunderstandings. And I feel like they've gotten help on the other side to understand that they were wrong. But I feel you tried. Is that true?
Yes.
Like you really tried. But you're different than they are.
Yes.
You're like this sweet, kind, good-hearted soul, and they were not like that. He was different.
Yes.
But he's getting help on the other side, and he's realizing that that negativity and the way he was is not going to get him into a good neighborhood in heaven. So they're apologizing. So you can accept it or not. But he knows you were unable to get there, or that you weren't allowed to get there, or something. There was an issue. So
Accepted.
hopefully that'll help you move on with all this. They're telling me about M. There's like an M or an A person.
There is an A person.
Is that a female?
Yes.
A-N?
Yes.
Anna or Ann?
Anna.
Is that your mom?
Yes. She always went under Frances, but
But she's deceased, right?
her first name was really Anna.
She's here. I feel she's embracing you. You must have had a better connection to her than your dad, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel like you took care of your mom.
I did.
And she's grateful that you took care of her.
She was living.
Mm-hmm. She's... Do you ever, like, have vivid dreams with her, of her?
Have, but I can't remember my dreams very well. But
Once in a great while, if you can remember, I feel like she wants to give you messages. Like she still watches you. She's still keeping an eye on you. She's still giving you guidance. I feel like you're like she'll always be connected to you. And she's happy because there's somebody else that she connected to. Who had the heart issue? Was that
Me.
you did?
And my dad.
And your dad. So was it hereditary then?
I guess so. He had a heart attack and died when he was 50.
Okay, but you keep an eye on your heart then, right?
I have actually had to have a procedure.
Yeah. So I can tell that. But you still have them keep, you saved your life by doing that, so.
Yeah.
You still keep an eye on your heart,
Yes.
right?
Every 3 months.
It's important for you to stay on top of this, but also be optimistic about it. Don't live in fear about it. Live in strength and positive things, but I don't know that you're eating properly or exercising properly.
Correct.
So you need to have more self-love about this and stay on top of it. Does that make sense?
Total sense. I keep thinking I have to do that, but
Well, you can join a gym, but if you don't go to it, what good is
exactly.
putting
Did
the
that
money
for
in?
2 years.
So even if you wake up every morning and, even for a half hour after dinner, just walk. Just go for a 20-minute walk, half-hour walk. You need to do this to keep the circulation going, to keep things right for you.
Precisely what my cardiologist says.
Well, listen to your cardiologist, because I only talk to dead people. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're adorable.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this for me.
I just had a reading with Shar, and I just, she hit, I didn't get to ask any questions, but she hit all the questions that I had on my list. I mean, 75, 80% of them. The S person was difficult, but that's a current person who's very new in a relationship that's sort of romantic, and who knows, but mystery is good.
Thank you so much for being here. I love being able to connect with you every week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time on CharVision. Bye, Sunny says bye. Thank you.